Hello everyone, my name is Amlan. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I will start with a short prayer. Bhakratundo Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Sarasvati Namastabhyam Bharade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada. So I'm going to talk about one video which is available in YouTube, and the talk given by neuro professor Dr Anil Seth in TED talk. If you go to YouTube, or if you search by his name, you will get that video. It is 17 minute 1 second video. You can watch that, and this talk is related to that video. So in that video he talked about consciousness and how the consciousness is, and how the world is a controlled hallucination. So I'll I'll talk about that, and so important lot of important stuff he told in that video, and I will tell I'll pick up one or two things from there and then try to explain. So first thing he said that without consciousness nothing, no world exists. It is like it is something like if someone is not conscious, for him or her the world doesn't exist. For example, if somebody is in deep sleep, or somebody is in coma, or somebody do not have any mind, is not working anymore, the kind of situation, that time consciousness doesn't work for that person, and then world actually doesn't exist. If it is very easy for one person to understand, when you go to sleep you have two kind of situation. One is called dream state, another is called deep sleep state. Dream state, still mind is working, so you can say partially consciousness is there, so you imagine things and you see a lot of stuff. But when you go to deep sleep state, that time actually your mind is not working anymore, so consciousness is not there in the mind. So so if you think that way, then that moment world doesn't exist, and you get up in the morning and you say, oh, it was a nice sleep, and it's totally blank. So the point what he said is world doesn't exist when consciousness is not there. So it is something like that. And another interesting thing he told is controlled hallucination. The world around us, what we see, is controlled hallucination. That's what he said. So it is a little difficult to understand that way, and if we analyze that point, then we'll see what he is trying to say. For example, how you see things and how we perceive things. If you analyze that point, for example, suppose you are seeing TV, or you are seeing some object. For example, you are looking at one soccer ball. So what is actually happening in that process? You are looking at that ball, so it is your brain and mind thinks that there is a ball, but actually what is happening, the light reflecting from that ball and coming towards your eyes, and after it goes through eyes, it become electrical signals through neuron, and then it goes in the brain, and then somehow, and it is not been known by the doctors or the scientists, that how that image get created inside. So somehow that ball image is getting created inside. So now imagine this process. So what exactly happening, even though you believe that that ball is there, but what actually is happening, that light is getting reflected from there, and that light going through the eyes, and then after going through eyes, and it is kind of getting converted into electrical signal passing traveling through neurons, and the image is getting created. So now, that based on that imagination, you think there is a ball. Now for any human being, this process is kind of similar. So naturally everybody agree that there is a ball. So now I'll show you one thing here. Let me pick up that. Now if you know this physics experiment, okay, I put a straw, and there is a water in the jar. Now if you see this, I don't know how clear it is for you to see, but you will see this straw is not straight. As soon as it goes under the water, it is kind of angled. It is not straight anymore. Now, for example, if you never know how this straw look like out of the water, actually it is going to be little difficult for you to understand it, this straw is really straight. So world is also like that, because you do not have any opportunity. Like this straw I can take out and you can see this straight, but for world, the way you see things, it is kind of not possible for you to see in a different way, because the process of seeing, there is no guarantee that what you are seeing and what you are perceiving, and everybody agree that same perceiving, but it may not be necessarily what you are seeing that exactly it is like that. So that is the point I was trying to tell. So controlled hallucination means the way brain is getting all the signals, and after that the way it is creating that image, based on that you actually perceive things. So world might be around you, so many things, and everybody see the similar kind of thing and everybody agree, but the point is, the way you see things, the process of the seeing the world is not from outside, you see from inside. It is coming from inside out. So from inside out, the way the things are getting created, there is no guarantee that what you see exactly outside, it is the same thing you are perceiving. So that's why it is called controlled hallucination. So that is what the scientific point of view of the things. Now for example, uh, he was saying another point, like whenever you see things, you get a feeling created inside. So you are a sentient being. Now no matter you have nowadays video camera or any other camera where you can take a pictures, or you can create image, but that camera or any other smart system, the way they see, and the living being, the way they see the things, it is little different. When the living being see something, there is a consciousness and there is a feeling, but other than living being, that feeling is not possible. So that is the point he try to make. So now this is what all about the video. So why this is so important to understand, that the world what we see around us, it is actually it is you apparently believe that you are seeing the world outside, but actually the world is creating inside of you. Like as I mentioned earlier, when you do not have consciousness in deep sleep, that time world doesn't exist, and you might think that, for example, you are sleeping, and in a deep sleep state, and you say that, okay, I was sleeping, but there might be so many things happening, that you might say. But for you that time, no matter whatever was happening around you, but that time for you, that time world doesn't exist because there is no consciousness at the time of deep sleep. So that's the point he make. And now I want to extend this point a little bit more here. Now, for example, all the things, emotions and feelings, and all the things are getting actually created inside you. So that's a very important point here. Now, I want to give you a small acronym principle so that you can remember the things later on after you watch this video, and you can apply in your life and you can get the benefit out of that. For example, I tell one acronym which is STFAAK. So STFAAK. So S means stimulus, T means thought, F means feeling, A means action, and next A means your um, it is the first A is attitude, and second A is action, and third K is uh, your karmic account. So STFAAK. So what is happening all the time with you? Like anything outside, whatever signal it is coming through your five senses, it can be seeing, it can be hearing, it can be taste, all these consider as a stimulus. Okay, so that is called S. Stimulus is outside of you. Okay, now as soon as the stimulus comes to you, you create a thought. It is very important to understand that you create the thought after stimulus comes to you. So as soon as you create a thought, based on your thought, there will be a feeling generated. Okay, and now when the feeling is generated, then after that, what happened? There will be attitude. Attitude means bhav. For example, it can be a good attitude, it can be a bad attitude, or it can be aggressive, or it could be a calm attitude. So that attitude get created after feeling. So what happened after attitude? You take some actions. So now based on actions, your karmic account get created. So this is the whole process. Now as soon as stimulus comes, you create a thought. As soon as you create a thought, depending on your thought, there will be a feeling. And as soon as you have a feeling, you'll have a attitude. An attitude will create action. Action will create karmic account. So this process all the time happening with everybody, knowingly or unknowingly. So now here, so important point here is, in general case for anybody, whatever happens is like anytime any stimulus comes, and you unconsciously you generally create a thought based on your past experience, based on your current situation. You might create a thought, and now the thought is going to based on the thought. Like for example, I take an example to illustrate this point. Now for example, you bought a car, you bought a nice Maruti car, for example Alto. You bought a nice Maruti Alto car, and that's a object you bought, and that's a stimulus for you right now. And after buying that, what happened? You create a good happy thought that, oh, I am so happy now, I bought this car, and I will go many places with this car. And this happy thought will create a good feeling inside, and that good feeling will create a good attitude, and that attitude is basically going to create some action, and that action will depend on that attitude. You might feel like, okay, I got a nice car now, I'm happy, and I'm feeling very comfortable. I want to take this car here and there, and I do stuff, and then you basically do a lot of actions based on that. Now look at this process again. When you bought this car for some, maybe for some other person, you take like some other person bought a Maruti Alto car, and he was so happy uh, because of that car. He was started thinking, and suddenly he see that his friend who is working in a lower rank than him, and he bought a bigger car than maybe Honda City or something he bought. And seeing that, immediately he created a thought, oh my god, how come that fellow bought that car? So you created that thought, negative thought you created. And it is not that Honda City is the problem. The problem is you create a thought now comparing with your Maruti Alto and the Honda City. Now as soon as you create a thought like that, then there will be a negative feeling will be created, and you will feel little negative about, and you feel jealous. This kind of negative feeling will get created, and this negative feeling, of course, is going to create a bad attitude, and bad attitude will uh, provoke you or force you to do some bad actions, and that bad actions will create a bad karmic account. Karmic account means, which is basically law of karma I'm talking about. Okay, so now in this whole process, it all depends. See, everything, all the objects, all the stimulus exist outside of you, and all the other process, like from T to K, everything is depend on you. Now it is up to you how you create the thought. Now in general, for common people, it is always like they create a thought without any they kind of helpless. They create a negative thought or positive thought, kind of in a helpless situation, as if they don't have any control over their thought. They do not even know they are creating a thought. So that's the important point. Now if you take charge of your life, and if you, irrespective of any stimulus, if you can create a thought which is always in your control, instead of thought get created without any your consciousness, you just create a thought arbitrarily, and you get provoked by that thought, and after that you are basically get enslaved by that thought, and you run around after the thought. So that's a very bad situation, and that is the situation for in general for everyone. So now when you understand this process, that it is not that thought should be created arbitrarily, because your mind is creating the thought. You should be on top of that thought. You should be responsible for that thought, and you should be creating that thought with conscious mind and thinking about all the aspects. You should be creating a positive thought or good thought, or whatever is you think good for you. And if you control that, then all the other rest of the things become good. When you create a positive thought with conscious mind, then automatically the rest of the things, like your attitude and feeling, your actions and karmic account, everything become good. So this is how you can become happy irrespective of the things around you. Now now it is a very common understanding that if somebody tell me bad things, or somebody insult me, then some other commonly people will say, how can I create a good thought in that situation? It's a common problem. Yeah, we understand that, but people will say, yeah, if somebody is insulting, I'm not going to tolerate. How can I tolerate that? And I am going to create a bad thought about that person who is insulting me. So it is like, if you think about this situation, it is like you are not in your control. Your control of the stimulus which is coming from the outside, you are under that control of that stimulus. So what you got to do, you need to create right thought to control the you create a right thought, so that you control yourself instead of being enslaved by the stimulus. So now in general sense people have a tendency of thinking, okay, like uh, to become happy I need to do something. For example, some people might buy some object, go for shopping, buy some object, and then some people will think, okay, I'll meet my friends, or some people might think, okay, I'll go to some tourist place to visit. So these are the activities people do, but all these activities are nothing but stimulus. So generally what happen in in whatever they want to do, like objects or visiting friends, or they want to go to this place, all those places they go, and they have some kind of expectation. If things go with respect to their expectation, they generally create good thought, and because of that good thought they feel generally happy. But think about that. That's a very common situation and a very normal situation. But the important thing is, when things doesn't go with respect to your expectation, that time it is more important being conscious and create a positive thought. And creating positive thought, it is not arbitrary or it is not imagination. It is a kind of art. You need to learn how to create positive thinking. You have to create a positive thinking in such a way so that it is real truth, it is not imaginary, and it is helpful. So that is how you have to, every situation, whatever comes to you as a stimulus, you got to think, I need to create a thought which is good, which is good for me, good for others. So based on that, you have to create the thought so that you can become happy irrespective of your outside stimulus. If your happiness depend on all the time outside stimulus, that means your happiness is dependent on something. If something is dependent, cannot be free. It is a slavery. If you want to be happy, happy means freedom. You want to be free, you need to be the master of your thought. That's why thought is very important. So I just wanted to make that point. Nowadays we are in an era where it is so nice that so many scientists doing so many research on consciousness, so many quantum mechanics, physics, and all those things. They are throwing so many important points nowadays. That was not the case a few years back. So now we have more understanding of our personality, more understanding of our mind. So these are all a good thing for us, but we have to understand the principle. So the principle is STFAAK. So remember that and try to apply yourself. And it's a kind of art. You have to practice to learn this art. Once you are master of this art, nobody can shake you. No matter what, you are always happy. Thank you.